Hey everyone, hi. I don't know, I'm just so excited to be filming and to be talking with you all and to be in this space again. I didn't realize how much I missed it until I sat down and started talking. And so yeah, I've just been realizing how much I've missed you all and how busy I've been. But that's not what this video is about. And actually, I posted a video that went up a few days ago about my Woman in Translation book collection, and I am wildly low energy. And yeah, I did, from that video till now, I did get sick. Quite sick, and I'm now in recovery of being sick, and I'm feeling so much better and so much more myself these days. So yeah, if you're new to my channel, then hi, welcome. What a rambly little intro you got there. My name is Shelly, and I really love books and reading. I love owning books. I love reading books. I love talking about books. I love all that kind of stuff. So if you see yourself or find yourself enjoying this video and feel like this might be a good place for you, then I would encourage you to subscribe and stick around. What we're doing today is that I'm going to be going through my to be read pile for September. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? So, or as it's lovingly called, my TBR, which is the booktube term for to be read. Anyways, September plans coming up right now. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. There are a couple of interesting events going on in September. The first one is, I feel bad because Straya, I don't have my phone on me. I think it's Australian Writer September. I think it's Straya September. I might be wrong. I'm going to leave, this is Scott at Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. This is his thing. He was like, I want everybody to read Australian literature in September, and I love the idea. However, I have done basically no research into, I have not looked in my shelves to see if I have any Australian writers. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was like, I didn't put any effort into actually planning for Australian literature in September. But if that appeals to you, I did want to mention it because Scott is awesome. And this is no way the reflection of my feelings about Scott at all. Me not picking out Australian literature. This is in no way a reflection of the way I feel about Scott. This is more, I have just been wildly busy, and I have not taken the time to look through my collection for Australian literature. So please forgive, Scott. And no hard feelings. But also, so, if you're like, ooh, I always wanted to read some Australian literature. I don't know why I'm using some cackly Southern voice, but, if you're finding yourself that you really wanted to read something about Australia or about literature set in Australia or Australian writers, then please go check out Scott's video. There's also something called Shorty September. And Shorty September is ran by Sian and Bert. Took me a second there. Sian and Bert. They have a wonderful channel called Past Story Time, and they always put on Shorty September, and they have a little list of about, I think they have a prompts list. Oh my gosh, I sound like I'm wild. But these are just I love talking about community events because I do love the booktube community, even if I don't always dedicate myself to whatever they're doing. So Bert and Sian have been running Shorty September for a really long time. They have a really cute prompts list, or they tend to have a really cute prompts list. I don't know if they have one for this year. I don't know if they're doing it this year. But if they did, maybe I missed the announcement. Oh my goodness, we're gonna move on. Often people dedicate themselves to reading short books in September, and it's like however many short books you want to read, go for it. And some people do the 30 books in 30 days challenge, which I did last year in which I challenged myself and completed the challenge of reading the 30 books in 30 days. So there is that, and that tends to kind of go on in September. This year, I am not doing any of that. I'm doing nothing. I have a couple of reads planned. I have some books I am considering reading, and I have some books that I may or may not pick up. So we'll start with the books that I have planned that I will probably most likely at least start in September, but who knows what the, I don't know. Anyways, who knows what the outcome will be. So my friend Anita and I, we are going to be reading Cutting for Stone by Abraham Verghese. I don't know. And I read his second book, this author's second book this year. It was Something for Water. I can't even remember. I don't even remember right now. What was it? Covenant of Water. It's Covenant of Water. Oh my gosh, I sat there for like a minute trying to figure out what it was. This is Verghese's first book, or Verghese's first book, Cutting for Stone. So many people have loved this book. Like, it is in their top 10 books of all time. And a lot of my critiques about Covenant of Water, a lot of people said that they thought this book would be so much more up my alley, so much more like a Shelley book. And so I have high hopes. I really do have high hopes for this. And the weird thing about Covenant of Water was that the parts that worked incredibly well. They sung, but it also meant that when something wasn't working, I had something to compare it to, and those stunk. So yeah, and so anyways, Cutting for Stone is a almost absolutely for sure. And then the book that we'll probably start but not finish, and I'm hoping I'll probably actually buy it on ebook. I'll probably, just because I don't want to read it in this format necessarily, but it's Shogun by James Clavell. It's it's a huge book. It's 1,200 pages. And this is, I think it's lovingly called, I don't know, The Asian Saga, maybe? Anyhow, I've heard that it reads quick. It's a very much adventure novel. It's got a good clip to it. So even though it's really super long, I've heard people really, really love this book. If you've read any of these that I've shown already, or that I will show upcoming, and you have opinions about them, can you leave that down below? I would love to hear what you have to say about them. Then, not for Shorty September, but I'm considering doing a very small side project that has to do, it's not 30 books in 30 days. It has nothing to do with Shorty September, but it is like a little thing that I want to try out. And I wanted to try it out on short books. And so it happens to kind of fit with Shorty September, but it's not for Shorty September, if that makes any sense. So I might read Steinbeck's, I might read John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. Another potential for this secret project, who am I, is Passing by Nella Larson. And the final book that I have possibly for this project is going to be To Star the Dark. Oh no, I have one more after this. To Star the Dark, which is a poetry collection by Doria Nigriofa, the same author of Ghost in the Throat, which was a nonfiction book, and it was pretty good. And then I also might do the same thing with Ariel by Sylvia Plath. I recently found this book. It was hidden behind some other books. And I was like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to read this. I feel like I get through the first couple pages and then that's it. So yeah, so anyways, so Ariel? I don't know, I guess it just depends on how fancy you want to get. It could be Ariel or it could be Ariel, by Sylvia Plath. If you have any guesses about what this little project is, I would love to hear them. I would love to read them down below, the guesses of what you think my secret project might be. And then I am teaching 6th grade right now, and I was thinking that I would love to be able to recommend more books to my students, even though I've already recommended a bunch, like I've talked through a bunch that I really love, but I have a couple of books that I think that they will really enjoy, but I can't recommend them until I've read them. And so on that list of books, like middle grade books that I want to read in order to recommend to my students, I have A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin, Number the Stars by Lois Lowry, and Jacqueline Woodson's Red at the Bone. So I might be reading some of these, or I might be picking up something along these lines in that age group that would be really satisfying. I've been doing a lot of research about books appropriate, because I'm working in a conservative private school, and so I have to be a little bit careful, I think, I'm putting it upon myself to be a little more careful about recommendations, just because, you know, I want to be respectful of the boundaries and sort of rules that the parents have for their kids. So, I mean, but there's so much out there. There's so much out there that's wonderful and wonderful to read. Yeah, but I also, like, I don't know, you know, I haven't read these. And so sometimes I also get a little leery of, just for any young person to recommend a book, you know, and then maybe it was terrible or something, like it wasn't a very good book. I'm not saying that about these three. There are just books that I really, really love and would wholeheartedly recommend to any reader, and then there are other books where I would only recommend to maybe someone who really enjoys like a certain kind of book. So yeah, I guess I'm working on using my discernment to recommendations, especially for the young people that I'm influencing. There we go. So anyhow, I think that's it. I think those are all my plans. Of course, it's always a wonder of what I'll actually read in the month, because, and I might finish up the Patrick Melrose series. I think the last book is called At Last, or Some Hope, or something with 2 words, because all his books have, all the books in the series, I think, have 2-word titles. That might not be true. Who knows? But I might read the final book in that series, because Fraser and I have been systematically working my way through that 5-book series, and we have finished number 4, so we're on to number 5, and I'm excited about that. I guess that's it now. That is it now. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. What are you planning on reading in this upcoming month? What are the plans? What are the events that are going on that you're just like feeling really jazzed about? I would love to know. I'm always so curious as to what's going on in the community. That's probably why I talk about like what's going on. Just because I know like these events are always just so inclusive. A lot of times you can find books at your library or on your shelves that you haven't read, or that I haven't read, that fit in with what's going on BookTube. That is why BookTube is such a wonderful place. It's just very inclusive, you know, and very just, I don't know. Anyways, we're not going to go into that. I'm done. I don't know why I'm rambling at the end of this video, but thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.